Hello and welcome back, guys. We're now starting a new story, Boku no Red Dragon Emperor, written by Immortal King 71. You can find author's profile link in the description. Let's begin. Chapter 1, Izuku Yagi's Origins Time Skip, but I won't let that hold me back. If anything, it pushes me to do better. An older Izuku could be seen running down the street. He stopped at a crossing light waiting for it to turn green. When it did, Izuku sprinted across the road. He ran under a bunch of sakura trees till he saw a villain attack and smiled, stopping at the scene. Izuku, ha ha ha, that's one huge supervillain. Wow, the pro-hero's death arm and backdraft. A random civilian spoke out loud in awe of the two pros. They were keeping the civilians at a distance and protecting them from the dangers of the fight. Kamui Woods was fighting the giant villain, swinging from building to building to avoid the villain's attacks. Izuku started fanboying, a bright smile on his face. Izuku, it's Kamui Woods. He may be new, but he's making a big name for himself. The old man next to him noticed the smile on Izuku's face and smirked. One look of that dopey grin on your face and I know what you are, a fanboy. This made Izuku embarrassed, so looking away he smiled sheepishly. Maybe a little, he mumbled as Raven smirked. Sure, just a little, she teased, making him blush bright red. When Kamui Wood was about to be brought down, he called out his ultimate move. Izuku, the preemptive Kamui, binding, lacquered chain prison. Kamui was about to unleash his attack when another new pro-hero arrived at the scene. She was a giant woman with a purple and NDE skin-tight suit. Cannon, she shouted high, kicking the villain, knocking him unconsciousness and causing everyone to freeze in shock. Kamui, huh? The cameramen all began taking photos. Body shot, body shot, body shot, they chanted. A piece of cake for the world's next hottest hero. Hi there everyone, I'm Lady. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, she said, sticking her butt out in a pose and winking. The cameramen all began taking photos of her. Body shot, body shot, body shot. While Izuku looked down with a blush. Lady was quite new, but she was one of his pro-hero crushes. Now he wasn't a pervert by any standards, however he was still a young man and she is pretty. Time skip to Adler Junior High. Teacher, so, as third-year students, it's time to start thinking seriously about what you want to do with your lives now. I could pass out some career aptitude requests, but everyone began to activate their quirk. Teacher, why bother? I know you all want to enter the hero track, he said, throwing the papers in the air as everyone cheered behind him. Katsuki, hey teach, don't lump us in with this bunch of losers. We're the real deal, but these losers would be lucky to end up as sidekicks for some busted up D-lister. Hey everyone, you think you're better than us? Katsuki, what? I'm just telling the truth, you DMN extras. We aced all the mock tests, we're the only one in this school able to get into UA, and then we'll take down All Might and be the richest hero of all time. People all across the world will know who we are and it'll all start at UA High, he stated with too much pride as he and Izumi agreed with him, all while smirking confidently. Teacher, you've got impressive test results. Maybe you three will get into UA. Oh yeah, Yagi, don't you want to go to UA too? The teacher smirked as the three froze and the class looked at Izuku. It was all quiet as he hid his head in his arms. Everyone, ha 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 ha. Random, Yagi, yeah right, random. You can't get into UA without a quirk. Izuku, they changed that rule. I could be the first one, he said, trying to convince them, but suddenly his desk exploded and he was sent into the wall behind him. Katsuki, listen up Deku, you're even worse than these bunch of rejects, you quirkless wannabe. You think they'd have you when they could have us instead. Izuku, sigh, why can't you guys just leave me alone? He asked, leaning against the wall behind him. I'm not trying to compete against you or anything. He then looked down. It's always been my dream to go into UA and be a hero. I may not have a quirk, but I can still try, can't I? He asked, causing them to get angry at him. Izumi, you'd never be able to stand with the best of the best, you'd die in the exams defenseless. Izuku, this school is already crappy, do you want really to embarrass it more by failing so hard? Random, loser, random, quirkless, random, pathetic. Izuku looked down, saddened. Time skip. Izuku was packing his things and taking out his phone. He found the incident with Lady and Kamui Woods on the news. Izuku, he looks like I got some more notes to write, he chuckled to himself, holding up his notebook when it was snatched away. Looking up he found Bakugo, his sister, and their entourage smirking at him. Katsuki, I don't know what you think you're doing Deku, but we ain't done yet, he told him with a glare. Izumi, You still think taking notes like a stalker will help you become a hero? The group laughed at Izuku before Katsuki exploded the book in between his hands. Izuku, ah. Katsuki then threw it out the window. Izuku, why? Katsuki then placed his hand on Izuku's shoulder, causing some smoke to come out as he burned the uniform and hurt the boy's shoulder. Take some advice and don't even think about applying. He pushed Izuku back, making him trip and fall to the ground. Izumi, pathetic. Izuku, neither dad nor mom loves you. It's a wonder you still believe you'll become a hero. They began walking away when on the way out Izumi stopped at the door. Izumi, you know Deku, there might be a way for you to get a quirk. She looked back to Izuku, who looked at her with a small glimmer of hope in his eyes. Izumi, take a swan dive off the roof and pray for a quirk in your next life. Izuku's eyes widened but they quickly closed. Small tears fell out of his eyes. Time skip. Izuku walked to the back of the school, finding his notebook in a pond with fish biting on his book. Izuku, stupid JRK, what if I'd really jump? What would you do then? Sigh, I wonder if this will ever end, he said, taking his book out of the water while gritting his teeth in anguish and staring at his books. Stupid JRKs. Flashback. Izuku, mom, hurry. The kids Izumi and Izuku slid into the kitchen of his home, finding their mom washing some dishes. They ran to her. Izumi, it's computer time, she shouted. Inko, huh, already? The three then went to the computer room. Izuku sat on the big chair in his room with Izumi on his lap while his mom put the video on. Izuku, faster, come on. He hugged his sister and exited. Inko, geez, I think you've added 10,000 views to this one yourself. Izuku, I don't know why you two like it, I think it's scary. She told them to put the video on and huge smiles found themselves on their faces. The video we loved was an old disaster footage from a long time ago, but more importantly it was the debut of the greatest hero the world has ever known. Izuku's smile brightened as he watched All Might save everyone, his eyes shining brightly watching at Izuku. He's the coolest in the universe, and once I get my quirk I'm going to be a hero just like him. Ha 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 ha. Time skip. Sorry kid, it's not gonna happen. Izuku's face went as pale as a ghost from the shock of hearing that, dropping his toy in the process while Izumi looked at him worriedly. Inko, oh dear, is something wrong? Then I mean everyone else his age has been able to use some kind of ability. Doctor, my records say you're a 4th generation quirk user. What powers do you and the boy's father have? Inko, I have a powerful telekinetic quirk and my husband has immense super strength, she said, bringing the toy into her hand. Doctor, the boy should have gotten his quirk a while ago, but viewing his x-rays I don't think that's going to happen. You see, when superpowers first began appearing there were many research studies conducted and doctors discovered a connection between the bones of a person's foot and the likelihood of them acquiring a quirk. People with powers have one joint in their pinky toe. Their powers evolved to a more stream-like version of the human form. You can see here that your son has 2 joints in his pinky, like roughly 20% of the population these days. Based on the research available, it's safe to say that your son isn't gonna develop a quirk. It was currently nighttime and raining. The video could be heard playing in the background. Inko and Izumi stood in front of the door. The room was dark. All that illuminated it was the laptop screen. The big chair in front of it hid little Izuku's body as the 2 Yagi girls stared at the chair. Izuku, see that, mom? Izumi, there's always a smile on his face no matter how bad things get. Inko took a step forward hearing her son's voice and Izumi teared up. Izuku, no matter how bad things get he never gives up. Izuku's voice was broken. All you could hear was despair and heartache in his voice, and when he turned revealing his destroyed expression Inko felt her heartbreak and covered her mouth with tears that welled up as she collapsed, hugging Izuku, who carried a broken smile on his face as he pointed shakily to the screen. Izuku, can I be a hero, too? He asked his dear mother. She walked to him and collapsed, hugging her baby. Inko, I am sorry. I'm sorry Izuku, I wish things were different. Tears continued falling down his eyes as Izumi ran to hug him as well. Mom, that's not what I needed you to say. Couldn't you see my world was crumbling? There was only one thing I wanted to hear. End of flashback. I made a vow that day that no matter what anyone else thinks I have to believe in myself and I'll keep smiling just like him. Izuku walked under a bridge laughing like All Might before hearing a strange noise behind him. He turned around seeing something building up behind him, a large sludge-like villain. Izuku, a villain, he whimpered as it towered over him. You'll make a perfect skin suit for me to hide in, kid. Izuku ran away as it jumped over, enveloping him in its green body and shoving itself forcefully down his throat. Sludge, don't worry, I'm just taking over your body. It'll be easier for both of us if you don't fight back. You'll feel better soon. Izuku's thoughts, I can't breath. Sludge, thanks for the help, kid. You're my hero. Kid, I didn't know he was in the city. I gotta get out of here fast before he tracks me down. Izuku thoughts, my body's getting weak, I think I'm gonna die. Suddenly the manhole cover flew off and from it emerged a large man. All Might, fear not citizen, you're safe. Now that I'm here. That is, the villain sent an attack at him, but he ducked, dodging it, and charged forward, reeling his fist back. Texas smash. He roared, sending a gust of wind from his fist and blowing the villain apart. Izuku looked in shock at the giant of a man before him and then he fainted. All Might, he whispered. Time skip. All Might was lightly slapping Izuku at high speed, waking him up. All Might, hey, wake up. Izuku, slowly wake up. Phew, thought I lost you there. Izuku slowly got up and his face morphed into one of shock before he scooted back, screaming, Izuku, it's All Might and he knows my name, but how? All Might, I read it in your notebook. Cough cough. Well, anyway, looks like you're alright. Sorry about that back there, you got caught up in my justicing, and although I have no idea what happened to the villain, I usually do keep civilians safe. It turns out the city sewer system is pretty hard to navigate. Ha. 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 Anyway, you were a big help. I've captured the evildoer, he said, showing Izuku 2 soda bottles with the villain in them. Izuku thoughts, the most amazing hero in the entire world. All Might in front of me in the flesh. He looks so much cooler in person. Holy CRP, I need to get his autograph. Where's my notebook? Izuku found his notebook and was about to ask the man to sign it when he found he already had caused him to scream in shock and begin bowing at high speeds. Grateful, thank you very much. This will be a family heirloom for generations to come. All Might, give a thumbs up. All Might, now if you'll excuse me, I must hand this villain to the police to deal with him. See you around, he said, crouching about to jump away. Izuku, hey wait, you're leaving already? All Might, pro heroes always have to be prepared for another villain to attack. I'm taking off, thanks for your continued support, he shouted, leaping through the air when he felt something on his foot and turned back to see Izuku flailing through the air. All Might, hey let go, I love my fans but this is too much, he shouted, trying to push Izuku off of his leg. Izuku, no way, we're flying. If I let go now I'll die. All Might then realized it. Oh, I guess you're right, I just have so many things to ask you. Please All Might, you're my favorite hero of all time, he shouted at All Might, who took a moment before agreeing. Fine, just close your mouth and eyes, he told Izuku, who did as told. All Might had a little BLD escape his mouth. SHT, this DMN brat is wasting my time, he said to himself. Time skip. All Might landed on a random roof with Izuku, who leaned on his knees for support, nearly toppling over and breathing heavily. He managed to speak. I just saw my entire life flash before my eyes, he said to himself. All Might, alright, I must leave, knock on the door, they'll be sure to let you in. Izuku, wait, please. All Might, no, I don't have any time. Izuku, I have to know. Memories of his past flashed through his mind. Izuku, can someone without a quirk become a hero like you? He shouted, asking All Might, who stopped. All Might turned slightly, looking at Izuku, who had his eyes closed and looking down. All Might, no. Izuku's eyes widened in shock, his pupils dilated and he felt all his strength leave his body in seconds. You cannot become a hero without a quirk. Tears began to grow in his eyes. It felt like his heart was torn out of his chest. After everything. After everything. Not even All Might himself believed he could become a hero. Izuku, what? All Might, I'm sorry young man, but I believe it's best you give up, for without any ability you would be nothing more than a liability. All Might then jumped away, leaving the destroyed Izuku to fall to his knees broken. Meanwhile, somewhere in a town called Kuo, in a mansion at night. Oops. This image does not follow our content guidelines. To continue publishing, please remove it or upload a different image. A teen with brown hair and a perverted expression surrounded by females was sleeping. Teen, boobies, he said, squeezing the air, when suddenly a red circle glowed on his hand before he flew out, becoming a red circle. Suddenly a voice came out of the orb. Finally, I'm free after so long. Ugh, I can't believe I had to work with this pervert, and because of him I'm a laughing stock. Oh, the humility I've faced. My rival is ashamed of me. Sigh. Well, no longer. Farewell. Issei Hayadu, I pray our paths never cross again. The orb then flew out of the building. Chapter 2, Partners. Recap. Izuku, can someone without a quirk like me become a hero like you? He shouted, asking All Might, who stopped. All Might turned slightly, looking at Izuku, who had his eyes closed and looking down. All Might, no. Izuku's eyes widened in shock, his pupils dilated and he felt all his strength leave his body in seconds. You cannot become a hero without a quirk. Tears began to grow in his eyes. It felt like his heart was torn out of his chest. After everything. After everything. Not even All Might himself believed he could become a hero. Izuku, what? All Might, I'm sorry young man but I believe it's best you give up All Might, then jumped away leaving Izuku broken. Bakugo and his friends were walking through an alleyway. Katsuki, that stupid nerd, who the hell does he think he is trying to compete with us? Izumi, forget about it babe, he's a loser who couldn't compete with you even if he had the strength of All Might, she said walking with them when a bottle fell out of nowhere and hit her on the head. Ow, the group turned to face their friend who was rubbing her hurt head. Random 1, you okay Izumi? Izumi, why yeah something just hit me, I think it was a bottle. Katsuki, tch come on you idiots, let's hit the arcade. Izumi, yeah we're coming. Explode oh boy. Izumi scoffed and continued with the group without noticing the growing mountain of sludge behind them that covered the light that barely illuminated the alleyway. With Izuku was on his knees wiping his tears away. Izuku, why are you crying idiot, you always knew. You always knew you could never be a hero. Izuku got up and began walking to the exit door of the building when he heard an explosion and looked to see it coming from the mall area. Izuku, what's happening there? At the site, the sludge villain caused destruction all over. The police kept the people behind them as the heroes Death Arms, Kamui Woods and Backdraft arrived. Death Arms, how dare you prey on a child? He shouted at the sludge villain, jumping into the air to punch it as it held a familiar green-haired girl inside it. Sludge, huh? Death Arms' fist sunk into the sludge as he tried pushing out. What is this? Some type of goo, he shouted, shocked by it before getting hit back into a metal wall. Extra Hero 1, you okay Death Arms? Extra Hero 2, look out. The random hero shouted as they dodged an incoming tendril that smashed down on the shop behind them. Sludge, ha, stay back or I'll snap her neck. The girl trapped inside the villain revealed herself to be Izumi, who pushed with all her might to get out of the sludge. Izumi, grah. Let me go. Help me Katsuki. She shouted, using her quirk to push herself out of the sludge, looking straight towards Katsuki, who stood at the front of the crowd doing nothing but looking away, afraid, shocking her. Sludge, you've got so much power, I've hit the jackpot. With a quirk like yours under my control I can take out All Might with one punch. The civilians watching were slightly frightened by the scene. Civilian, whoa, is that some kind of special move? Civilian, this dude is a legit supervillain. Civilian, gasp, look, it's her, the new hero. Empty Lady will stop him. She said, but Empty Lady had to stop since the buildings were too close together. Gasp, my only weakness, I'll need at least a 2-lane road if I want to make my way through, she shouted in her giant form. Kamui swung in and grabbed several civilians from in the fire to get them out. Fire and wood don't exactly make a good combination. I'll need to leave someone else to handle this guy, he said, jumping away as Backdraft fired water on the flames. Don't look at me, I've got my hands full here. Where are those fire trucks? Anyone? He shouted to the other heroes. Death Arms, I can't get a grip on his weird body and that kid keeps sending blasts of air, I can't get in close, damn it. Izumi kept struggling, which Death Arms noticed, but he also noticed the villain attacking. Incoming, he shouted, jumping back and dodging another of the villain's tendrils. Death Arms, it's no good we don't have the right quirks to take down a villain like this. Extra Hero, we gotta keep it under control till someone else gets here, he said as another flame burst from behind some glass in a building. Backdraft, there's still plenty of people to save. Kamui, don't worry, I bet every hero in the city is on their way, he said, pulling people out of the fire form on top of a building. Death Arms thoughts, sorry kid, you're just gonna have to hold on a little longer. Death Arms thoughts, DMN, if only I had more power I could blow this guy away. Izuku had just arrived to hear the people trying to support the heroes who were doing nothing to save the hostages. Izuku POV, Izuku thoughts, gasp, that's the guy who attacked me. He shouted to himself in shock, no way All Might captured him, he thought, looking at the pro beside him before recalling how All Might had lost him. Izuku, but the bottle, if he dropped it that means it's my fault. Izuku thoughts, it's my fault, this is all my fault, and he's already caught someone. How can they breathe? I thought I'd die in only a few minutes. Ah man, he covered his mouth, shocked. Extra 1, wait, I'm confused, isn't that the villain All Might be chasing today? Extra 2, what All Might? But wait, lost, where is he? Extra 3, wait, can't someone call him or something? Extra, yeah, where is he? Izuku focused his gaze on Izumi, who was trapped and being held down by the sludge villain's tendrils wrapped around her body, some crawling up on her body trying to get under her uniform. Izuku's thoughts, why aren't they doing anything? Save Izumi. Someone, anyone, please save her. He shouted when he saw a single tear come down her eye. Izuku ran forward past the crowd, shocking everyone including Izumi's group. Death arms, and oh you idiot, stop him before he gets killed. He shouted as Izuku ran forward. Izuku thoughts, I can't stop now. Sludge, you again, this time I'll kill you. He shouted, sending an arm of sludge at him. Izuku's thoughts, what do I do? What would a hero do right now? Page 25 right. Izuku spun around and threw the bag off his shoulder over the villain as one book fell from it and into its eye, causing it to scream in pain as he reached Izumi and tried to pull her out of the sludge villain's hold. The sludge villain, angrier than ever, raised his tendril to hit Izuku. Death arms, save the boy. Death arms, save the boy. Izuku covered himself with his arms, but the hit never came. All Might, how many times must I tell you? Izuku looked up at the pro in shock. All Might, I told you what is needed to be a hero, but I suppose I wasn't clear enough. Boy, he grabbed Izumi. All Might, Detroit sludge, no. All Might, smash. The sludge villain blew apart the air pressure from the attack, causing all the flames to go out and change the weather, shocking everyone. Meanwhile Izuku and Bakugo were unconscious. Extra 4, did that just happen? Extra 5, he just changed the weather with a single punch. Extra 8, he saved the day. He's amazing. After that, the heroes collected all the sludge villain remains and the police took him into custody. All Might got celebrated and I was reprimanded. Kamui, you moron, do you have a death wish? Death arms, there was absolutely no reason for you to put yourself in danger like that. Kamui, it was reckless and foolish, you should have let us do our jobs. Izuku looked down upset. I was put through the ringer and told off for doing the right thing, while Izumi was praised for her bravery. Izumi and her boyfriend were both glaring at Izuku, albeit Izumi's look was more of a worried one. Meanwhile a pro was telling her she had a future as a great sidekick. Time skip, people were watching what happened on the TVs, revealing All Might, Izumi and Izuku's faces on screen. Meanwhile Izuku was on his way home when he heard someone. Ha ha ha, I am here. Izuku's thoughts, All Might. He walked to a corner and looked past it to see All Might in front of his main tormentors. Izumi, All Might. It's you. All Might, ha 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 ha, yes it is I, All Might, but I'm also your dad. He shouted, turning into Small Might. Izuku was shocked, his eyes widened and he covered his mouth. Izuku's thoughts, no, this can't be. Please God, wake me up from this nightmare. Toshinori, and I have come to give one of you something special. Katsuki, what is it, Mr. Yagi? Toshinori, my quirk. Izuku fell to his knees hearing All Might tell them about his quirk, and then it happened, the moment that finally broke Izuku. Izumi, but why not give your quirk to Izuku? Toshinori, because he lacks a heroic spirit and is too reckless, he'll get himself killed trying to go after his ridiculous dreams. So will you take my quirk? Izumi, I can't, I'm sorry. All Might, I see, that's a shame. Izumi, so young Bakugo, will you take it? Bakugos, you're DMN right? I will. I mean why yes sir. Bakugo thoughts, he stupid Deku, not even your own father thinks you're good enough for a quirk. Toshinori laughed and petted Katsuki's head. You are the son I wish I had. Oh how I envy your father, young Bakugo. Katsuki smiled pridefully. Katsuki's thoughts, he doesn't even want you, loser. Toshinori, well let's go. Inko is at home right now making dinner. We invited your families over as well to celebrate, kids, right? They said as they went to the Yagi house. None of them saw Izuku, who was completely devastated. Time skip, reaching his home Izuku put his key in the lock and turned it, unlocking the door. Slowly he turned the door knob and walked inside the house when he saw something that broke his heart even more. His mother, father, sister, ex-friend, aunts and uncles all eating at the large dining table without him. Each one laughing and eating their fill while he starved. So he just walked to the stairs in complete silence and opened his door to see his bedroom. Crawling inside he closed the door and lay on his bed, shutting his eyes, a single tear falling from them as he slept. In Izuku's dream, Izuku found himself in a world of fire. Izuku, where am I? Welcome to your mindscape, partner. Izuku's eyes widened at the deep voice which echoed throughout the flaming world. Turning around he witnessed something extraordinary, a crimson dragon with eyes as green as his own rising from the fires below. Izuku, a dragon, Izuku began freaking out. Calm down. The dragon demanded as Izuku stopped but was frozen in fear. Izuku, sorry, he squeaked. Sigh, it's alright, but I must admit I'm happily surprised to see you are strong enough for me to communicate with you, unlike my previous partner, that no good pervert. Izuku, other partner, oh right, you still don't understand, well allow me to explain it to you. I am Ddraig, also known as the Red Dragon Emperor. However, due to some unfortunate events relating to the previous wielder, I've come to be known as Mumble the BRST Dragon Emperor Isuku. What's a Dragon Emperor? Ddraig, oh right, I apologize now. A Dragon Emperor is a being stronger than God but weaker than a dragon god. Isuku, Dragon God. Ddraig, indeed, and so far there are only two great: Red the Dragon God of the Dream, who is the strongest being within the universe, and Orphis, the previous strongest being. Isuku, oh okay, and how many Dragon Emperors are there? Ddraig, only two, one being myself and the other I will tell you about later in time, because what I will tell you will change your very understanding of the physical world. Ddraig began telling Isuku about the supernatural world, how the gods others believed in were actually all real, and how devils, angels and fallen angels also existed. He also told Isuku about God's unfortunate demise and how Michael was the one who governed heaven. Then Ddraig told Isuku about how yokais also existed and everything he knew about sacred gears, especially about the 13 gears of Longinus. Finally, he told Isuku about his own gear called the boosted gear, a weapon capable of doubling the user's power every 10 seconds till he could fight even God, and to say Isuku was shocked would be an understatement. Isuku, wow, that was a lot, but wait, if I have the boosted gear, does that mean I'll be able to fight even God? Oh my god, this means that everything we know is wrong. And mumble Ddraig, hey. Quite nerding out. Isuku jumped back, breaking out of his mumble. Isuku, sorry, but there's one thing I don't understand. Ddraig, go on. Isuku, why gulp, why choose me? Ddraig, chuckles, young man, I have lived for countless years. I've seen all there was to see and more, but never have I seen someone so willing to give up their life to save someone other than themselves. Ddraig looked at Isuku, who fell to his knees. Ddraig, there are stories about every hero, how they became great, and one thing they all had in common was that their bodies moved on their own. That happened for you, didn't it? Ddraig, Izuku Yagi, quirkless son of Toshinori and Inko Yagi, I the great Red Dragon Emperor deem you worthy. So allow me to say the words you desperately need to hear, the words that speak nothing but the truth. You can be a hero. Ddraig, chuckle, you truly are such a crybaby. Now stop the tears, partner. Izuku quickly wiped away his tears and let go of a few sniffles before standing up. Ddraig, now we have work to do for today. We start your training. Izuku, training. Ddraig, of course, after all you can't be a hero without a strong body, and you can't wield all my people as you are now, so are you ready? Izuku, yes. Ddraig, good, now get to it. Outside his mind, Izuku's eyes opened quickly and he sat up in a flash. His breathing was fast and he was sweaty, but that's not what mattered to him. He had to know if everything he saw was real, and that's when he felt it, a jolt of energy rushing through him like a speeding bullet. Looking down at his hand, he smiled tearfully at the crimson gauntlet with a green gem in it right over his hand. Meanwhile in Kuo, Issei, Aya. Issei Hayadu screamed in agony, holding his burning chest. Rias, ah. Issei. She shouted, holding him down as the rest of the girls on his bed woke up. Akino, Issei. What's going on? Rias. Rias, I'm not sure, he just woke up screaming. Zenobia, maybe it's the dragon spirit hurting him. Rias, let me check. She pressed her hand against his chest, a red glow illuminating in between the touch, when suddenly her eyes widened. Rias, impossible. Asia, what is it? Rias. Akino, tell us. Rias, Issei's sacred gear. It's gone. Chapter 3, Training to be the best. Izuku opened his doors slowly and quietly. The clock on the wall across the hall showed that it was 7 a.m. and the window revealed the sun rising slowly. Quickly, as to not cross any of his soon-to-be awoken parents, he tiptoed to the door wearing a tracksuit and a scarf. Then he felt something bump into his foot and looked down to see Bakugo sleeping in a sleeping bag beside Izumi. Izuku, phew, he was scared. He woke them up when suddenly Ddraig, good morning, partner. Izuku, He jumped in shock and ended up jumping onto Bakugo's stomach, waking him up and making him scream, which caused his sister to wake up. Izumi, what the? Izuku. Izuku quickly made a break for it before they could get him and left the house, slamming the door shut. Izuku, sigh, why Ddraig? He asked the laughing dragon. Ddraig, haha Haseri, but you have to admit that was funny. Izuku's worried expression turned into one of laughter. Did you see his face? It was like he crapped his breaths. Ddraig once again burst out laughing as Izuku sped down the street. Izuku arrived at Takoba Beach, a filthy place filled to the bottom with trash. Ddraig, alright, well done for finding this spot, partner, it will do nicely for training. Izuku smiled a bit. Ddraig, now as you know we'll be doing our training here for the next 10 months, you will return this beach to its former glory before it was filled with trash for your training, so prepare yourself for it will be hard, you will feel like you're dying and you won't be allowed to stop, so tell me, are you ready? Izuku, sigh, I've wanted to be a hero every day of my life, so it doesn't matter what's thrown against me, I won't stop till I succeed. Ddraig, ha ha ha, well said partner, now let's begin. Training. And so there Izuku's months of hellish training began. He would start his days off with some light stretching very early in the morning, 5 o'clock to be exact, and after waking up he dressed in a tracksuit for his training and would head out to buy himself a light breakfast using his father's card, since neither of his parents cared enough to make him breakfast at all. He would jog around his neighborhood twice. The second time would consist of him sprinting even if his lungs felt like they were on fire. Then he would head home to get his belongings before heading over to school, grabbing his yellow bag and school uniform. After school he'd then head straight to Dagoba Beach where he would train with the garbage. Ddraig would regularly cheer him on and would often tell Izuku stories of the previous Red Dragon Emperor and stories about the history of the supernatural world, which he enjoyed thoroughly. Our green-haired hero did this every day for 4 months. The objects he would have to lift, pull and push got heavier and heavier till the point he had to pull a truck stuck on its brakes to the other side of the beach. One day Izumi saw Izuku exit the bathroom shirtless and had a nosebleed at the sight of his body, which had grown in height and muscle. Speaking of Izumi, she would often try to bully and humiliate Izuku, however he would always avoid her even when she tried to get to him before class ended. Sometimes Izumi would try and follow him in the morning, however he was always too fast for her to catch up to him. One day Bakugo even threatened him and tried forcing him to tell them where he was heading, but Izuku shocked the two when he shoved Bakugo away and ran off. Izuku had asked Ddraig to train him in the use of magic, so Ddraig first began the lessons by educating Izuku about the basic elements of magic and about the elements after them. The two found Izuku especially good with fire magic, and so Ddraig educated Izuku on how to cast flame spells and all the different types of flame spells there were. For the next 2 weeks, Izuku learned how the mere basics of how to create fire magic, but due to him being human it was especially hard to create even sparks. In the 6th month, Izuku decided to further expand his knowledge of flame magic and used his knowledge of quirks and the boosted gear as well as magic to think of a totally new form of fire magic, one in which he would touch a person or an object and snap his fingers, causing the person or object to explode. Ddraig also informed Izuku of how by boosting his power he could increase the sheer strength of his attacks and magic power. Unfortunately, due to his sacred gear being in its dormant state, still he couldn't test any of his knowledge in combat. When the 7th month came, Ddraig decided to educate Izuku on how to fight with a blade so he could properly wield Ascalon. The sword training was actually one of Izuku's favorite things to do, but also one of the hardest, as he had to increase his speed and arm strength. Even at night he would train to swing his blade and hit several sticks of bamboo, and later he would do weights weighing from at least 100 kilos to 200 kilos. Ddraig even showed Izuku the different styles of how to use a blade and the code by which a true knight abides, even going as far as to show him some of the styles used by the knights of past legends. Ddraig finally decided to educate Izuku on how to use magic other than elemental. It was dragon magic. But the first step was to learn how to make his own magic circle and how important it was to create one so as to properly harness magic power. Izuku's first dozen attempts were complete failures as each was unsuited for him, but when Ddraig gave him some advice on how Merlin created his first magic circle with his eyes closed and allowed his instincts to create the circle, Izuku did the exact same. Relaxing his tense muscles and body, he allowed his body to create the magic circle, and when he opened his eyes he was pleasantly surprised at the magic circle that he drew up. Ddraig explained that the circle allowed Izuku to create even stronger spells, but they would quickly take away most of his magic reserves despite them being larger than the average devils. Finally, Ddraig decided to train Izuku in physical combat, so when a situation would come up when he couldn't fight with Ddraig he could defend himself. The training was done in Izuku's mind so he could fight against dummies created by Ddraig. The first skill he learnt was ninjutsu, which consisted of manipulating the flow of ki, which most yokai are born with and in high amounts. Now the training was harder than he thought it would be, but he kept trying to learn it. His knowledge was vague, but he was able to use ki to increase his physical strength and speed and also his defensive power. This one technique he learnt was actually toki, which is a senjutsu technique. Modifying it with his knowledge, Izuku created a form of Toki he called Reiku, where you would draw all your ki out and use it all within a minute, thus increasing your strength and power immensely. It even allowed him to create air pressure capable of rivaling All Might's weakest smash. Finally, after so many months of training, Izuku was finally done with all his training. Present day, Ddraig, alright partner, now begin, let's see if you can do it, unlock the next stage of your gear. Izuku took a deep breath and nodded his head. Izuku, alright, let's do this. He closed his eyes. Ddraig, let everything go. The wind brushed against Izuku, lifting his clothes slightly. Boost. Ddraig, allow the magic to flow through you. Boost. Ddraig, allow your feelings to empower you. Boost. A transparent green aura surrounded Izuku. Ddraig, let the rage in your heart become your power. Boost. Ddraig, you are the Red Dragon Emperor. Boost. Ddraig, you will embody domination itself. Boost. Ddraig, do not allow fate to hold you back. Boost. Ddraig, overcome it. Boost. Ddraig, shatter the shackles of destiny. Boost. Izuku groaned in pain. The cracking of his knuckles could be heard as he clenched his fists tighter, the aura around him turning bright red. Ddraig, Izuku Yagi, what is your fate? Izuku thoughts, no matter what, I will destroy my destiny, even if it's set in stone. No matter what, I will. Boost. Izuku, I will become the strongest Red Dragon Emperor in history. Gra. A torrent of fire blasted from beneath Izuku like a raging inferno of power. People around all of Japan could hear Izuku screaming before his scream turned into a dragon's roar. With the Yagis, Izumi and her friends were all holding their hands over their ears. Izumi, what the hell is this? Tashinori, I don't know. With Izuku, aargh. Ddraig, Izuku, control the energy, don't let it consume you. Izuku forced his jaw shut and the power he was radiating returned back into the gear. Flames surrounded him, burning at hundreds of degrees, but none of them affected him as he fell to the ground breathing heavily, and the flames finally disappeared. Ddraig, Izuku. Izuku, you aren't hurt, are you? Izuku, why yeah, but what was that? Ddraig, it was your emotions and your longing. You see, the boosted gear responds to its wielder's emotions and desires. Yours were to become the most powerful Red Dragon Emperor and the best hero you could be, so that triggered a release of some of my power when you evolved the gear. Izuku, wait, evolved? Does that mean Ddraig? Take a look. Izuku looked down at his new gear with tears. Ddraig, congratulations Izuku, you've successfully unlocked the next stage of the boosted gear. Izuku, hee. Ha 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 ha. He laughed with joy and tears. He did it, he was finally one step closer to his dream. Ddraig, I'm proud of you. Izuku, thanks partner. Sniff. Ddraig, no worries. Now then, I have one more thing for you to do. Izuku, huh? Ddraig, focus your power on the magic circle which you created and let me do the rest. Izuku nodded and quickly created the magic circle, which took him away before he saw the 3 magic circles of different kinds which appeared on the beach with Izuku. Izuku found himself in a crimson forest with the sky being dark blue, red and several other colors. Izuku, where are we? Ddraig, this is the familiar forest. He said upbeat as Izuku grew a massive smile on his face. Does that mean, Ddraig? Chuckle, yep, it means you get the chance to have a familiar. Izuku, thanks Ddraig. Ddraig, no problem partner, now let's have a look around. Izuku nodded and began walking down the hilltop he was on and looked around. During his visit he discovered dozens of creatures, each one more interesting than the other, but they weren't for him. An hour or two went by but he still found nothing. Izuku, sigh, still nothing. Ddraig, I suppose it's about time we head back partner, we can try again another time. Izuku, yeah you're right. As Izuku was about to create the magic circle, suddenly he heard a thunderbolt. Suddenly a yellow lightning bolt smashed into the ground in front of him, sending him skidding back. Izuku, arg. He roared in pain as he crashed into a tree. Oh ow. He began picking himself up and looked ahead to see something that made his eyes widen. Ddraig, oh no. Izuku, Ddraig, what is that? Ddraig, it's called Arc Regulus, a beast governing lightning itself. This thing is too strong for you. Izuku, we need to go. Izuku took a step back in fear before turning around and running as fast as he could before hearing the lion roar. Boost. The beast turned itself into pure yellow lightning, going after Izuku, who screamed as bolts of lightning smashed into the ground beside him. He looked up at the sky and his eyes widened in fear as 3 bolts of lightning came down the storming sky. Boost. The arcs fused into one large lightning bolt which struck Izuku, causing him to scream in pain. Aargh, he fell to the ground with smoke coming out of his clothes. Ddraig, Izuku. Back away, beast. Boost. Regulus growled and opened its jaw, about to bite Izuku, when quickly spinning around Izuku right hooked it in the face, sending the lion 8 feet back. It groaned and shook its head, trying to erase its dizziness before looking back up at Izuku with a growl as electricity bounced off its jaws. Ddraig, partner, I think we made it mad. Boost. Izuku, hee then it's a good thing I won. Getting up slowly and wiping away the trick of BLD coming down his smirking lips, a flaming red magic circle appeared over Regulus's cheek. Raising his gauntlet arm and extending his middle finger and thumb, he connected them. Dragon Spark, boost. Snapping his fingers together with a spark, Regulus burst into flames. Regulus roared in pain as the large explosion enveloped its body, knocking it out and leaving the beast lying on its side smoking, while Izuku collapsed to his knees breathing heavily. Izuku, cough cough, my everything hurts, he whined in pain. Ddraig, well, you did get hit by lightning, thankfully my boosting was able to protect your body, but I must ask, why didn't you use Toki? After all, you are well versed in it. Izuku froze completely. Izuku, I may have forgotten about that. Ddraig, you what? Izuku chuckled while scratching the back of his head when he heard Regulus moving and turned his head to look at the lion that stood up and stared at him for a few seconds before tackling him down to the ground and rubbing its head against his body, purring. It seemed more like a pet now than a fearsome beast. Izuku, ha ha ha, hey, it tickles. Wait, what's going on? Don't you want to eat me? Regulus stopped purring and looked back up at Izuku like an adorable kitty before shaking its head. Izuku, then why did you attack me? The lion made a low roar sound as if trying to communicate. Izuku, what? Ddraig, allow me, it seems Regulus was actually challenging you to see if you were worthy of being its MSTR. Thankfully after you defeated it, Regulus decided it wants you to be its MSTR. Izuku, really? Hey, Regulus, do you want to become my familiar? Regulus nodded at light speed and liked Izuku's cheek. Ha ha ha, okay, he got up with the help of Regulus and stood straight. Izuku, okay Ddraig, so how do I do this? Ddraig, alright, first put your hand on Regulus's head. Izuku, alright, he placed his hand on Regulus's forehead. Ddraig, now repeat after me. I Izuku Yagi. Izuku, I Izuku Yagi. Ddraig, hereby command you to serve me. Izuku, hereby command you to serve me. Ddraig, may the binds that shackle my soul connect with yours and become mine. Izuku, may the binds that shackle my soul connect with yours and become my own. Ddraig, accept thy name, Arch Regulus. Izuku, accept thy name, Arch Regulus. Suddenly Izuku's magic circle shined above Regulus' head before disappearing, and Regulus then jumped on Izuku, liking him like crazy as he laughed while Ddraig smiled within the gear. Ddraig thoughts, I am thankful to have met you, partner, for together you shall change this world and become the greatest hero that has ever existed in the underworld. Rias Peerage, what? In Surzek's office, Rias Gremory and her peerage all sat in front of the Devil King and his maid wife Graphia, shocked at the recent news. Aquino, but how could it even be possible? There's no way for someone to lose their sacred gear unless they die. Surzek's, I'm not sure, dear sister, but somehow Ddraig fled Issei's body and I suspect that's why he was unconscious for several months. Issei, I felt it and saw something or someone. He had green hair and freckles, but he also had this fire around him. That was what I saw when I woke up. Surzek's, green hair, you say? I don't know anyone but a Juka Beelzebub with that color hair, but he isn't capable of such a feat. Kiba, damn it, I swear to you, Issei, we will find this guy and get Ddraig back. Asia, yeah, Issei teared up. Thanks guys, he cried. Surzek's looked down and thought, damn it, this is bad. If we don't somehow retrieve Ddraig and return him to Issei, then the entire Devil faction will be at a significant disadvantage if a war were to break out. And what's worse, Surzek's, Rias and her entire peerage turned to face the serious Surzek's. Surzek's, I want you to focus all your spare time on finding Ddraig and returning him to Issei. Rias, of course brother, but is something wrong? You seem troubled. Graphia looked at her husband when she noticed the door to his office opened and her son Milikas peeking in. He quietly ran to Graphia and waited for his father to finish with Rias. Surzek's, Sai Kokabil has escaped. This shocked the entire peerage. Rias, what? But that shouldn't be possible. Azazel himself threw him into Cositus. Milikas ran to his father and pulled on his breathes. Farther, he called, but Surzek's ignored him. Farther. Surzek's this time gently pushed him back. Not now, Milikas. He whispered angrily to his son, who looked down and nodded before walking back to his mother. Disheartened, Surzek's fake cough now as I was saying yes he was in cositis however somehow he's grown stronger and broke free from its waters. Our intel has reported that he's securing an army under the radar unfortunately Azazel and I can't find anything or anyone tracing back to him so that's why it's imperative we find Ddraig. Rias and her peerage nodded, yes sir, they all bowed. Chapter 4. Entrance exam. Izuku could be seen walking towards the UA building. His clothes were baggy hiding his physique but you could still see some of the muscles from underneath his shirt. Izuku, alright, made it just in time. He smiled bright seeing the UA entrance in front of him. Ddraig. Well considering how early we left it's not surprising. Izuku chuckled nervously before walking towards the entrance when he heard Katsuki, stupid Deku. He then turned around and saw Bakugo and Izumi walking toward him in their school uniforms with scarves around their necks. Izuku raised an eyebrow looking at him with an expression that spoke for itself. Really, he sighed and stepped aside not bothered by their temper tantrums. Izuku thoughts, sigh they haven't changed in all this time, I don't know why I'm surprised. Ddraig. Well we can't worry about that right now because you have an exam to get to partner so hop to it. Izuku nodded and continued on his way hearing some people murmur in the background, hey isn't that the girl from the villain attack a few months ago? Yeah I heard All Might even changed the weather, her name is Yagi right? Yeah she's the real deal. Izuku sighed, of course, they would only remember the actions of those with quirks but no matter things are different now because he is no longer alone and weak, he has Ddraig. He has power and more importantly, he has Regulus in case of emergency. In the auditorium, present Mike, what's up UA candidates welcome to UA come on and let me hear ya. No one said a thing till, yeah. Izuku shouted as everyone turned to face him but he didn't care. Mike, thank you, little listener. Now let's get to it are you ready? He shouted out, yeah. Izuku shouted again, shut up Deku. Izumi growled from next to him, PSS off. He whispered back, psing her off. Thankfully for Izuku Katsuki was seated 3 rows away. Mike, thank you, my little dude. Like your application said today you rockin' boys and girls will be doing 10-minute mock battles in super cool settings. Here are your lanes, my friends, after all after I drop the mic you'll head to your specified battle centers. Sound good? Okay. Izumi looked at her card and then Izuku's. I see they're splitting us up so we don't end up working with friends. Izuku noticed the same thing Izumi did. Yeah you're right our examinee numbers are one after another but we're assigned to different battle centers. Izumi, get your eyes off my cardman. I was looking forward to crushing you. She growled at Izuku. Ddraig. How dare this witch insult my partner. If I were still in my physical body I would annihilate her. Mike, okay let's check out your villains. There are 3 types of villains in every battle center. You better choose wisely cause based on their difficulty the more points you gain using your quirk. Shred these villains like a mid-sung guitar solo but check it make sure you keep things heroic. Attacking other examinees is a UA no you dig. Excuse me sir but I have a question. A boy with blue hair wearing glasses and a yellow suit stood up. Mike, hit me, on the printout you've listed. For types of villains not 3 with all due respect if this is a mistake on official UA materials then it is shameful. We are exemplary students we only expect the best from Japan's top hero school. Furthermore you with the green hair. He looked over at Izuku, you've been muttering this whole time. Stop that if you can't bother to take things seriously then leave you're distracting the rest of us. Izuku raised an eyebrow at him while Ddraig was growling hatefully at the glasses guy. Izuku quickly covered his mouth, sorry, he squeaked out nervously causing the people around him to laugh. Mike, alright examinee 1 thanks for calling in with your request, the 4th villain type is worth 0 points. That guy is just an obstacle we'll be throwing your way. There's one in every battle center just try to avoid it. It's not that it can't be beaten but there's kinda no point. I recommend my listeners try to ignore it and focus on the one top of the chart. Mike. That's all I got for you today. I'll sign off with a small present, a sample of our school motto as General Neapolitan once laid down. A true hero overcomes life's misfortunes. Now that's a tasty sound bite. You ready to go beyond? Let's hear a plus. Ultra good luck. Hope you practiced more than hitting just books. Time skip. Izuku stood in front of his practical exams entrance in a nice white, gray and pink tracksuit with a red fingerless glove on his sacred gear hand. Izuku thoughts, well this is it. Time to put my 10 months of training to the test. I will succeed no matter what. Ddraig. Hee we got this partner. Whoa it's like a whole city, can you imagine how much this cost them? UA is amazing. Some random people muttered in front of the city B doors while Izuku's eyes wandered around. Izuku thoughts, look at all this. Ddraig, everyone here is so confident and some have support gear. Ddraig. Yes, but remember focus is key here and we have the advantage. Izuku nodded his head when suddenly he heard someone breathing hard and turned to look at a girl with bob-cut brown hair trying hard not to panic, so he decided to go comfort her when he was forcefully stopped by a hand on his shoulder. Turning around he saw the glasses-wearing guy in some high-grade training tights. She looks like she's trying to focus on the trials ahead. What are you going to do to distract her and prevent her from succeeding? Ddraig, this guy is really annoying. Izuku, no, of course not. I was. Izuku's shouting caused the other examinees to turn to look at him and the glasses guy. Random 1, hey over there, that's the guy who freaked out earlier. Random 2, he practically wet himself in the lecture hall. Random 3, dude what a loser. Well, one less rival to worry about. I guess everyone's thoughts, he's out. Izuku thoughts, why do I feel like everyone's already written me off? Ddraig, tch stupid human brats. The entrance to City B opened and everyone looked at it but Izuku dashed inside. Boost. Random 4, hey get back here. Random 5, don't worry about it, there's no way he'll get any points and they'll probably disqualify him for going in without the teacher's permission. Mike, what are you guys doing? There are no countdowns in a real fight. Get moving. Look at my little listener, he's already shredding out there. Now go. 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 Everyone was in shock before they ran inside only to find many of the robots in the front on fire or broken. Mini time skip. A 2-pointer approached Izuku who smashed through it with his sacred gear. Boost. Izuku, huff, how many was that, partner? Ddraig, 10. Let's keep going. Izuku thoughts, right. 1 3-pointer approached from behind him, so Izuku spun around and slid under the robot, touching the bottom of it when 3 more 1-point robots approached and he flipped over the middle one's head, touching its back. He did the same with the other 2 1-pointers and ran away. Random 6, idiot. He forget to take them now. They're my points. He smiled, turning his hand into a drill and charging at them while Izuku smirked. Izuku, no, I just didn't want to get hurt by my own attack. Boost. Snapping his fingers, 4 small magic circles appeared over the robots' heads before cracks appeared all over their metal bodies with a bright blue glow beneath them, and then they exploded, sending the examinee flying. Izuku thoughts, that was stronger than I thought it would be. Ddraig, ha, great job Izuku. Now then, let's continue. Izuku nodded his head with a smirk, seeing 4 more 2-pointers charging at him from all sides. Meanwhile, teacher's watchroom. Nizu, clearly the examinees have no idea how many villains are present or where they are. They have a limited amount of time and must cover a vast number of areas before the time runs out. Some useful information gathering abilities to plan out strategies. They watched one boy with a large number of limbs on a roof, while others rely on speed to pull ahead of their peers. They watched the glasses guy drift through streets. Of course, remaining calm under pressure can be a huge advantage. They watched a blonde boy shoot lasers from his stomach, as is pure power and compatibility. They watched the Bakugos breathing heavily on the remains of robots. The most successful students are the ones who use a combination of all these tactics. They're the ones who gather the most points. Midnight. I'd say this year's bunch is promising, especially him. They all turned their heads to see Izuku dash at high speeds underneath a robot which cornered an examinee, and then he destroyed it with one punch through its head, shocking his parents. Toshinori, what the? Izuku, he doesn't have a quirk, how's he doing this? Inko, what's that thing on his hand? Could it be his quirk? But that shouldn't be possible unless. Toshi, do you think he? Toshinori and Inko looked at each other with worry while the other teachers focused on his exam ectoplasm. His speed is incredible, as is his physical prowess, his body's flexibility, and the way he's performing. It's like he has experience in battle. And those explosions he creates, it's like he has 2 quirks. Nizu, well, this is quite the interesting turn of events. Bring me his file. Toshinori thoughts, 2 quirks. No, don't tell me he went to that man, but he should be dead. Midnight opened Izuku's file. Name, Izuku Yagi, student of Aldera Junior High, quirk, none. He wrote none for quirk. Does that mean he lied on the survey? Vlad, odd, why hide information about your quirk if it's that strong? It's almost suspicious. Hey All Might, Tempest, he's your son. Do you know anything about this? Inko, no, as far as we know he has no quirk, at least that's what the doctor told us. Nizu, so that begs the question, when and how did he unlock his quirk if it's a quirk at all? He muttered the last part to himself. Aizawa, I want him in my class. If there is a reason as to why he's hiding his quirk, then I can deal with it. I will keep an eye on him and find out if there's anything suspicious or evil about him. Nizu, alright then, I leave him under your watch. Aizawa, make sure you keep a close eye on him and judge his intentions in our school. But for now, let's put that aside and get back to the test. He has gotten almost 97 villain points. That's impressive indeed. I wonder if he could reach All Might's points. At All Might finally decided to enter the conversation. He won't be able to do it. Izuku has never been good at fighting and he lacks training, unlike his sister and young Bakugo, who I'm sure have gotten higher scores. 13. Aren't you being too quick to judge All Might? We don't even know if he's been trained by someone or if he's trained alone in secret. Also, you shouldn't have a biased opinion being a teacher now. All Might, I don't know if he's indeed working for that man, but I know of no one else able to give someone powers strong enough to rival my own. There's no way he could just wake a quirk up so suddenly. Aizawa, All Might. That's low. He's just a child. Your own child. He shouted angrily. Nizu, we can all discuss this later, but for now I want to see how these children act in the face of danger. He pressed the red button. Back with Izuku, the entire city began shaking and slabs of cement fell off the roofs of buildings and a massive dust cloud blocked everyone's view of the area in front of them. When the smoke cleared, everyone saw a massive robot that scared them all. Izuku shook in fear as the machina sent a punch at the ground, causing an even larger explosion, nearly sending everyone flying. Once the pressure cleared, it revealed Izuku, who had fallen down trembling. Mike, less than 2 minutes remaining. Izuku's thoughts, why am I shaking? No, I can't do this, I can't beat that thing. I have to get out of here quick. Ow, he heard the cry of a girl. Izuku turned around, seeing the girl he wanted to help earlier with her foot buried under rubble. Izuku looked back towards her in terror as the shadow of the giant robot covered him, his eyes shining green from the energy boosts of his gear. Flashback. Izuku was on the beach with Ddraig, talking to him. Ddraig, hey partner, you always speak about becoming a hero, but may I ask why you're so driven to become one? Izuku, you don't know. Well, it's because I want to give people something I was denied. Ddraig, and what's what? End of flashback. Hope. Izuku turned back and ran towards the girl. His emotions went into overdrive as the green gem of his gear glowed brighter than ever before. Boost. Izuku thoughts, I want to be a hero and save everyone. Boost, 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 explosion. A glowing red sphere the size of a mini golf ball appeared in front of Izuku's fist as he punched it and sent a colossal beam of crimson energy straight at the zero-pointer head. The beam created an explosion so strong it sent all the examinees flying back and shook 3 other fake cities. Izuku, dragon shot. When the smoke cleared, it revealed half the zero-pointer's entire body was destroyed and the part that was still standing had orange liquefied metal coming down the remaining top. Everyone was silent and left in utter shock at what had happened. Even the teachers were stunned. The boy who the examinees mocked, the boy who had a weak appearance, the very same boy who was freaking out in the auditorium had decimated the zero-pointers like it was nothing, and he was just 15 years old. All Might and Inko had actually fallen off their chairs in shock. Izuku, hey, are you okay? He asked the girl with a worried expression, making her blush. Girl, yeah, thank you for saving me. By the way, Izuku, no problem. Oh, here, let me help you. Using what little amounts of boosted strength he had left, he lifted the slab of rock off her leg. Can you get up? He asked her. Yeah, she tried to stand but couldn't and looked down with a hurt expression. Here, let me help, he said with a smile that made her bright red. Izuku put her arm over his shoulder as Recovery Girl came toward the examinees to help them time skip. Izuku walked into his house with his bag over his shoulder only to see his parents waiting for him on the couch. Toshinori. Izuku, we need to talk. Izuku however ignored him and continued walking. Inko, don't ignore your father, young man, come here and sit down, she shouted, grabbing him by his arm, but Izuku shrugged her off and continued on his way. Izumi, get back here. Deku. She ran straight at Izuku, about to grab him by his shoulder when he spun around and slapped her across the face, knocking her down to the ground and shocking her and her parents as she held her cheek in pain with tears. Izumi, you hit me. That hurt. Izuku, shut up, you spoilt beach, I'm sick and tired of your constant whining. And you two don't get to tell me what to do or ask questions, cause as far as I'm concerned we're nothing to each other. Turning around, Izuku left the living and entered his bedroom, closing the door behind him before leaning on it, breathing hard. Izuku, huff huff, I can't believe I just did that. Ddraig, well, it was rightfully given, and besides, do you regret it? Izuku looked down. Sure, he hates them all, in fact he despises them, but at the end of the day hitting his own sister was never the answer, cause that would lower him to her level. Izuku, no, I just don't like having hit Izumi. He slid down the door and sighed, looking up at his roof, which had mold in every corner and the paint peeling off. Ddraig, believe me partner, I know how kind and good you are, but not everyone is like you. And that hit was to send a message that you have changed. Isuku, I guess you're right. Hey Ddraig, yes Isuku, thank you for being my friend partner. Ddraig, it's my honor and my greatest pleasure partner. Time skip 1 week. Izuku opened a letter over the floor and a disc dropped on the ground before a hologram shot up. Nizu, am I a mouse, a bear, or a dog? I am the principal of UA. Nizu and you young Yagi placed first in the exam. You have not only broken All Might's highest score but also made history in the UA entrance exam records. I welcome you to UA Academy. Izuku Yagi. We are pleased to have you. And as for the class you have been assigned to, you are in class 1A. Welcome to your hero academia. Izuku smiled with tears and jumped into the air with joy. Ddraig, we did it. Congratulations, partner. I'm so proud of you. Izuku, thanks buddy. Sniff. Ddraig, this is just the first step of your journey. Izuku, and from here on we'll go through many trials, but this time together. Izuku nodded with joy and tears. Meanwhile in the Hayatu house, Rias, yes thank you brother. She hung up and turned to her peerage sitting on the couches of the house awaiting instructions. Asia, so what did he say? Issei, is it about Ddraig? Rias nodded. My brother had Beelzebub search all of the human worlds for a magic signature resembling Ddraig's, and he found that the most magical energy resembling the Red Dragon Emperor's was in a city called Mustafa in Japan. Currently, he's sending spies to conduct a recon so we can find Ddraig. Akino, thank goodness you hear that. Issei, you're gonna get Ddraig back. Issei nodded with a big smile. Chapter 5, Trouble on My First Day at Home. Izuku was finishing tying his shoelaces at the door of his home, and stood up about to leave when he felt a hand grab his shoulder. Turning around he faced his mother. Inko, Izuku please wait sweetie, I and your father want to speak with you. Izuku, no thanks. He put his hand on the door knob to turn it when he felt it stop turning and felt his hand be forcefully moved away from the door. Inko, I'm speaking to you young man. Don't you dare turn your back to your moth. Izuku, shut up. He looked down upset and angry. Izuku, stop acting like you care about me and stop pretending that we're all one big happy family, because we're not, at least when I'm here you're not. Izuku turned around leaving his gasping mother in shock and turned the door knob, shutting the door behind him before leaving. Ddraig, partner, you okay? Izuku, yeah buddy, I'm fine. After all, today's the day. The day I finally enter my dream school. Ddraig, indeed, off to UA, we go. Izuku, right. At UA, the acceptance rate that year was just as small as it's always been. 1 in 304 people got in because of their recommendation and 36 because of the regular exams. We were split into 2 classes of 20 students each, however due to some circumstances 1A now has an additional 2 students. Izuku walked down the halls looking for his class. Class 1A, Class 1A, Class 1, I found it. He cheered before realizing something. The door was huge. Izuku, man, this thing is huge. Are there giants here? The most promising students in the country are waiting behind this door. He imagined Ida, Izumi, and Bakugo's there too. Sigh, I hope they're not here too. Ddraig, don't worry, I'm with you all the way. Smiling he slid the door open before seeing the 2 he wanted to see least of all, as well as his classmates. There is no male Todoroki. Izumi, take your feet off the table now. Bakugo, he smirked pridefully. It's the first day and you're already disrespecting school property. Bakugo, you're kidding me right? What, did your old school put a stick up your butt, or were you born with it? Izuku looked down and sighed tiredly. Of course, just my luck, he said watching the 2. Ddraig, he's intolerable. Let me start over. I'm Tenya Ida from Semi-Private Academy. Bakugo, so you think you're better than me? I'm gonna have fun tearing you a new one. Ida, gasp, you would threaten me? Your classmate. Are you sure you're in the right place? He asked, taking a step back as Bakugo scoffed before both noticed Izuku. It's him, Ida said, causing the entire class to turn to look at Izuku with the Bakugos and Izumi scowling. Izuku, hi. He greeted with a tilted eyebrow. Ida, good morning. My name's Tenya Ida from the Ddraig. He's like a robot. He approached Izuku sternly. Yeah, I know, I heard you. I'm Izuku, hope we can get along. Izuku replied. Ida, Izuku, so you prefer the first name then? Well, okay. You knew there was something more to the exams. You were very perceptive and I completely misjudged you as a student. You're far superior to me. Izuku, Yeah, I doubt that all I did was what I thought right, so please don't make a big deal out of it. Ida was speechless. He didn't save the girl to get more points but because he thought it was right. He needed to learn more about being a hero, but then his thought process was interrupted when the girl Izuku saved in the exams jumped on Izuku's back, hugging him tight. Hey, it's you. Turning around, Izuku was face to face with the girl he saved. She had brown bub cut style hair and was fairly cute. She had a permanent blush on her cheeks and was fairly well shaped with a joyful smile on her face. Izuku thought, hey, it's that girl. She looks good in the uniform. Ddraig. Oh, does she now? He said teasingly, causing Izuku to blush as the bullies glared at him, but Izuku didn't really notice nor care. Flashback. Bakugo shoved Izuku against the wall. How the hell did you get into UA? We told you not to apply. Suddenly his wrist was grabbed by Izuku, who began squeezing it. Bakugo felt his wrist bending and looked at Deku only to shudder at the glare he had. Izuku, be Bakugo. Someone I look up to told me that I can become a hero, that's why I applied, that's why I'm going, like it or not. You can't stop me. Izuku shoved him away and walked past the two shocked girls behind Bakugo. End of flashback. Katsuki thoughts, I'm gonna ruin that little bastard right after I figure out how he got in. Izumi thoughts, so it is true, you really did make it, brother Eraserhead. If you're here to make friends then leave now. The entire class went silent and looked in fear at the man wrapped in a sleeping bag like cocoon on the ground in front of them all. Who is this guy? All thought. Izuku thoughts, Ddraig. Is this some kind of caterpillar monster? Ddraig, no, in fact I believe this is a human in what appears to be a blanket of sorts. Welcome to UA's hero course. He unzipped a little, revealing a yogurt packet and sipping it dry. It took you several minutes to all shut up. He got up and unzipped himself, revealing his full body. That's not gonna work, time is precious. Rational students would understand that. Izuku thoughts, I feel like I know this guy. Hello, I'm Shota Aizawa, your homeroom teacher. The class all looked in shock. Right, let's get to it. Put these on and let's head outside, he said, pulling out a sports uniform from his bag. Time skip outside with 1A, the class was on the field behind UA. Class 1A, what? A quirk assessment test. But orientation, we're gonna miss it. Aizawa, if you really wanna make the big leagues you can't waste time on pointless ceremonies. Class 1A gasped in shock. Aizawa, here at UA we aren't tethered to tradition, so I can run my class however I see fit. You've been taking standardized tests most of your lives, but you never got to use your quirks in physical exams before. The country is still trying to pretend that we're all equal by not letting those with the most power excel. It's not rational. One day the ministry will learn. Bakugo, you got the second highest record on the exam. How far could you throw with a softball in junior high? Katsuki got angry hearing a second, 40 meters I think, he replied. Aizawa, alright, come here and throw the ball with your quirk. Anything goes, just stay in the circle. Katsuki walked into the circle right in front of Aizawa. Alright, you asked for it, he said, I'll add one for all to it, and dropped their jaws, he said to himself as arcs of a burning orange color flashed around him. Izuku thoughts, what is that? Die. Bakugo shouted, throwing the ball with a powerful explosion, launching it in the air. Izuku thoughts, die. He sweat dropped. Aizawa, this is all UA is about, he said, showing them a meter with 705 in it. Whoa, 705 meters, are you kidding me? I wanna go, that looks like fun. This is what I'm talking about, using our quirks as much as we want. Aizawa, so this looks fun, huh? He said ominously, you have 3 years here to become heroes. You think it's gonna be all games and play time? Idiots, you'll participate in several tests to determine potential. Those with none will get kicked out instantly. Class 1A, HUH. Aizawa, this is my class and I'll run it however I want. If you got a problem with that you can head home right now. Mina, you can't send one of us home. I mean, we just got here. Even if it wasn't the first day, that isn't fair. Aizawa, and you think villain attacks or natural disasters are? Everyone began paying attention to Aizawa as his speech made them think deeper on the word hero. Aizawa, this world is full of unfairness, but it's a hero's job to combat that unfairness. UA is going to push you to the limit, breaking you so you can go beyond. That's what we mean by going plus ultra. If you're not ready for that, then I suggest you leave. Got it? Go beyond plus ultra style. Show me it's no mistake that you're here, he told them, making the class gasp. Izuku thoughts, oh my god, he's so cool. Ddraig snickered at his partner's antics. First test 50m sprint, the first two to run were Ida and Tsuya Machine, runners on your marks ready, bang, Ida ran forward and Tsuyu leapt forward. Ida won though Ida, for seconds Ida, for 50 meters I can only go up to third gear. Tenya Ida his quirk engine, as you can see his legs are pretty dang fast. Aizawa, well he's definitely in his element but speed can only get him so far. Tsuyu Azuri. 58 seconds. The next was Ochako Uraraka and Mashiro Ojiro Uraraka. I'll lighten up my clothes oh. And my shoes, she said, tapping her clothes and shoes with her fingers making them glow pink. Ochako Uraraka her quirk zero gravity machine. Get set, bang, she can nullify the gravitational pull of anything she touches, but if she uses her quirk too much she totally hurls. Mashiro Ojiro, 56 seconds. Ochako Uraraka, 15 seconds. The next was Aoyama and Mina. Nice attempts Manami, but you're just not showing enough panache, bang. Aoyama jumped up and blasted forward using his laser belly button. Let my powers shine, he shouted. Yuga Aoyama his quirk naval laser. That's right, a belly button laser. But he can't shoot it forever. He fell to the ground letting Mina pass him and then he got up again and lost to her. Yuga Aoyama, 51 seconds. Yuga, shooting my beam for more than a second hurts my tummy, he said looking at his classmates group. What a tool. Aizawa thoughts. Testing the upper limits of their powers helps me assess their room for growth. It becomes clear what they can and can't do. This time it was Izuku and Katsuki machine. Runners on your marks ready. Izuku's thoughts. I can do this, boost. Bang. Aizawa thoughts. Sometimes pros need to be creative to succeed. Bakugo, burst speed. He used his explosions to propel himself when a flash of green passed him at such high speeds. When it stopped it caused a somewhat large explosion of dust. Everyone looked at Izuku in shock and began murmuring. Izuku Yagi, 54 seconds. Bakugo Katsuki, 13 seconds. He looked over at Izuku in anger, veins bulging all over his face. Izuku ignored Bakugo's glare and his classmates' talk about him. Even Ida had his jaw dropped that Izuku was faster than him. Izuku clenched his fist. I have to get stronger if I want to become the strongest dragon emperor, he said to himself, not realizing Izumi could hear him a little. Rest 2 grip strength. Izuku held the grip test in his hand. Boost. Wow, you hit 540 kilograms. You're such a beast. Octopuses are CC. Boost. Crack. Everyone turned to the sound to see Izuku had destroyed his grip test underneath the boosted gear, shocking them all and making his bullies angrier. Test 3. Standing long jump. Aoyama flew over the pit of sand, Bakugo blasted over it, Izuku jumped close to the end of it and Izumi flew past it. Test 4, repeated sidesteps. Mineta used his ball to bounce side to side at high speeds. Test 5. Ball throw. Uraraka touched the ball with her quirk and threw it, getting infinite, shocking everyone but Izuku, since well she just took off the gravity of the ball. Nothing special in his opinion. Now standing in the circle he held the ball in hand ready to throw it. Ida, Yagi's beaten us in all but the repeated sidesteps and standing long jump. Based on the tests he bested us and it wouldn't be surprising if he managed to beat us in this as well. Izumi, what, there's no way he could beat us. Bakugo, that BSTRDIS a freaking loser who can't do SHT. Ida, that's very rude of you Bakugo, and did you not pay attention to the tests or hear about what he did in the entrance exam? Izumi, huh? The class murmured about him. The number 1 first year, the one who destroyed All Might's record and took down a 0-pointer blowing it sky high. Izuku, alright, let's do this partner. Ddraig, understood. Izuku, boost. Boost. Hearing the 12th boost of the day, Izuku was about to send the throw when Ddraig, partner look out. Izuku sidestepped, dodging Aizawa's capture weapon from getting him. Aizawa, impressive, but that doesn't mean you're good enough. You were holding back in every test, weren't you? He asked with his scarf somehow floating, with his crimson eyes shining a bright piercing red. Izuku looked down, confirming Aizawa's question. Aizawa, if you hold back, how will you help people? How will you just become a liability and let them all die? What about the people you care for? Will you let them perish because you didn't use your full strength? Izuku looked down with images flashing through his head of his torment and broken past until they changed to Ddraig showing him support and pushing him to become better. Aizawa, I don't care if it's because you're too prideful or because you're afraid. I want to see your true power, so don't hold back again or you'll be expelled. He shut off his quirk and his scarf went back as Izuku looked down to the ground, clenching his fist. Ida, what do you think he told him? Maybe something encouraging. Uraraka, yeah, it's probably that. Bakugo, or maybe he told him that a quirkless loser like him should leave and stop embarrassing himself. Izuku didn't hear them. All he heard was his heartbeat and clenched his fist. Gritting his teeth he let go of restraint, allowing his emotions to burst from within. Boost, 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 explosion. Izuku, AARGH. Izuku's magic aura burst like a crimson inferno, his aura growing within the second enough to reach the sky with how much power he was generating, causing the rubble to lift off the ground while the emerald gem on his gauntlet shined like a burning star. Izumi's thoughts, what's going on? Katsuki's thoughts, I can't stop shaking, what is this? Ddraig, that man Aizawa was it, he thank you for pushing my partner forward, now bear witness to a fraction of the power of the Red Dragon Emperor. Izuku, grah. He threw the flame-covered ball with such strength it blasted forward, pushing everyone around Izuku back so hard they were sent literally flying several meters away, followed by Aizawa. When the smoke cleared around Izuku and the class could see what had happened, their eyes widened to see him in a 12-foot wide crater in the ground, his entire shirt burned off, revealing his athletic build and the boosted gear no longer on his arm. Izuku, how's that, Mr. Aizawa? He smirked at the shocked man, who took a moment before smirking back, hiding it underneath his scarf. Aizawa, this kid. Meanwhile the other students were gawking with shock, and before any could say anything Katsuki launched himself straight at Izuku. Bakugo, Deku. What the hell was that, you bstrd? He was about to hit Izuku, but Izuku sidestepped, dodging the incoming explosion before shoving Bakugo against the ground and going over him, placing his knee against his spine. Bakugo, arg, get off me. Aizawa, normally I'd expel you for attacking another classmate Bakugo, but since it's your first day I'll give you a chance. Yagi, please let him go and return with the others. Izuku nodded, quickly getting off of Bakugo and walking to the rest of his class. Meanwhile Bakugo was growling at Izuku along with his sister and Izumi, who were glaring at him. Bakugo thoughts, Gur, I'll find out what this power is, Deku, and when I do I'll crush you. Meanwhile, watching UA from a building far off, a male with black hair and red eyes was sitting on the edge of the building looking down at the street. You know Azazel Surzex won't like me not reporting to him about the new Red Dragon Emperor. A magic circle was beside the ear of the ninja and a voice spoke out of it. Azazel, I know, however I'd like to see how much this new Dragon Emperor can grow. I believe it'll be something to truly behold. Ninja, understood, then I'll keep you updated. Chapter 6, putting the bully in his place. After the quirk assessment test, everyone in the class got changed and started to head home. Izuku was walking by himself for a while, speaking to Ddraig while heading to the gates of UA. Izuku thoughts, sigh, I can't believe that this entire time Mr. Aizawa was tricking us, and here I thought I would get kicked out of UA. Ddraig, really? Why, I mean, you did come in first place, remember, he said, flashbacking back to when Aizawa showed the class rankings with Izuku coming first. Izuku, yeah I know, but suddenly a hand was placed on his shoulder and his instincts caused him to spin around and grab the hand before seeing it was Ida. Ida, whoa. I apologize for scaring you, Midoriya, I was just wondering if you'd like to walk together. Izuku, oh why yeah sure, sorry about that. Ida, not at all, I jumped up on you, in fact your reaction just proves to me even more why you're ahead of everyone in class. Izuku blushed, a little embarrassed being complimented before a small smile found itself on his face. Izuku thoughts, I see now, it's not that Ida's a bad person, but he's just too uptight. Ddraig, that would have been nice to know earlier before I started insulting him. Izuku, Ida's, what's so funny? Izuku, oh nothing. Uraraka, hey guys wait up. The two stopped and turned around to see Uraraka running up to them. Ida, oh you're the girl with the gravity quirk, right, Uraraka? Uraraka, yeah, and you're Ida, right? Oh, and you're Deku. Izuku, Deku. Uraraka, yeah, that's what that guy Bakugo called you, right? Izuku, why yeah, but it's actually a name he uses to bully me. Ida, what? That's unacceptable. Yagi. Uraraka, sorry, but I thought it was like a short way of saying Dekairu. Izuku, well my name is actually Izuku Yagi, but if you want you can call me Dekairu. Uraraka, okay then Dekairu it is. Izuku smiled at her enthusiasm, I think this is gonna be a great year, don't you, partner? He asked Ddraig, who fully agreed. Time skip, UA Hero Course Curriculum. There are normal core classes like English, they meet in the mornings. Mike, now which of these 4 sentences contains a mistake? Class thoughts, so boring. Bakugo thoughts, this SEKS. Mike, come on everybody look alive. Grammar rules. Izuku raised his hand, YAGI. Thank you. Izuku, number 4. Mike, correct. We eat lunch in the main cafeteria where we can buy pretty tasty stuff on the cheap. Lunch rush, white rice is the perfect comfort food, isn't it? He asked the group consisting of Yagi, Uraraka and Ida Uraraka, this is super good Ddraig. Oh how I miss being able to eat Izuku thoughts, hee sorry partner, and then in the afternoon, it's finally time for hero basic training, we are here. Shouted All Might and Green Tempest coming through the door, one in a bizarre position, the other normally, both coming through the door like heroes. Class, whoa Ddraig, how is that heroic? Izuku sighed and looked down, seeing one of the people he loathed more than any other. All Might, let's get started, shall we? Welcome to the most important class at UA High. Think of it as Heroine 1. Here you will learn the basics of being a pro. And what it means to fight in the name of good. Let's get into it. In today's lesson, we'll pull no punches. Katsuki, battle Izumi, training All Might, but one of the keys to being a hero is looking good. These were designed with your quirks in mind and the requests you sent in before coming to school. The entire class celebrated their new suits. All Might, after you change head to ground beta. Class 1A, yes SIR. Izuku however was silent and got up before everyone grabbed their attention as he walked to the door of the classroom about to exit when he felt Inko's hand be placed on his shoulder. Inko, young Yagi, you haven't picked up your suit, I persona, slap. Everyone's eyes widened in shock to see Izuku had slapped Green Tempest's hand away. Izuku, I don't need your charity and quit acting like you care about me, cause we both know you guys don't. He opened the door and left, leaving Green Tempest and All Might frozen in their place. Meanwhile in the back Katsuki was grinding his teeth together in rage and Izumi was clenching her fist so hard that small drops of BLD came falling on the floor. Izumi Katsuki thoughts, Deku BSTRD in ground beta. All Might and Tempest heard footsteps coming. They say the clothes make the pros. Young ladies and gentlemen, and behold, you are the proof. Take this to heart. From now on you are all heroes in training. All Might, this is getting me all ramped up. You all look so cool. Now shall we get started, you bunch of newbies? All Might noticed his wife staring at Izuku, who was wearing his sports uniform without any items to support him or anything that screamed hero suit. It was just a plain sports jacket which was opened, a black shirt underneath, sports briefs with his signature shoes, nothing else. All Might thoughts, so he didn't wear the suit. Inko spent a hard time working on Izuku thoughts, hey Ddraig, you sure we don't need a hero costume? I mean Ddraig, no we don't, because once you've grown stronger with the gear you will unlock something that would put that smiling baboon on his knees, and it also works like a hero suit. Izuku thoughts, really? I can't wait to unlock it. All Might, now that you're ready it's time for combat training. He said to them all. Ida, sir. Izuku turned to Ida, who was in a white armor-like suit, and raised his arm. Oh, so that's Ida under there. Ddraig, remind you of someone in particular? Izuku nodded, agreeing that he knew a hero with a similar quirk in suit. Ida, this is the fake city from our entrance exam. Does that mean we'll conduct urban battles again? All Might, not quite. I'm gonna move you 2 steps ahead. Most of the villain fights you see on the news take place outside. However, statistically speaking, run-ins with the most dastardly evils occur indoors. Think about it: backroom deals, home invasions, secret underground lairs. Truly intelligent criminals stay hidden in the shadows. For this training exercise you'll be split into teams of good and evil and fight 2-on-2 indoor battles. Tsuyu, isn't this a little advanced? Tempest, the best training is the ones you get on the battlefields, but remember you can't just punch a robot this time, you're dealing with actual people. Now Momo, sir, will you be the one deciding who wins? Bakugo, how much can we hurt the other team? Mina, do we need to worry about the losers getting expelled like earlier? Ida, will you be splitting us up on chance or cooperative skill? Aoyama, isn't this Cape Cray chic? All Might, we haven't finished talking. Ddraig, and they're supposed to be heroes. Mock Ddraig as All Might started again. All Might, listen up. He said, taking out a script, making Izuku look down, unbelieving of the number one hero's stupidity. A script, he thought to himself while Tempest's sweat dropped and looked away nervously. All Might, the situation is this: the villains have hidden a nuclear bomb somewhere in their hideout. The heroes must try to foil their plans. To do that, the good guys either have to defeat and capture the villain or recover the weapon. Likewise, the bad guys succeed if they protect the bomb or capture the heroes. Izuku, sounds like a classic action game setup. Ddraig, like those games my previous host used to play, although there was more melons than action, he said, recalling Issei playing a action NDTY game. Inko then lifted a cardboard box with the word lots written on it. All Might, times limited. And we'll choose teams drawing lots. Ida, isn't there a better way? Izuku, Ida, pros often have to team up with heroes from other agencies on the spot, so maybe that's the reason we're seeing that out here. Ida, yes, I see life is a random series of events. Forgive me Yagi. He bowed. No problem, Izuku replied calmly, let's draw. All Might pumped his fist into the air. Team A, Izuku and Mina. Team B, Shoto and Shoji. Team C, Momo and Mineta. Team D, Bakugo and Ida. Team E, Izumi and Shoka. All Might placed his hands in two different boxes, one white and the other black, looking for the teams that will versus each other. I declare that the first teams will be these guys. He pulled out teams A and D, coincidentally being Izuku and Bakugo's teams. Ddraig, what the? There is no way this is coincidence. Tempest, Team A will be the heroes. Team D will be the villain. Everyone else can head to the monitoring room to watch everyone. Yes ma, and the team selected stood where they were while the others left. Izuku looked over to Bakugo from the corner of his eye to see the guy glaring at him, but instead of whimpering in fear he glared back, making Katsuki take a step back, but when he realized how he reacted it only made him angrier. All Might, bad guys, you can go on in and get set up. In 5 minutes the good guys will be let loose and the battle will start. AD, yes sir. As Ida and Bakugo were on the verge of entering, All Might spoke to them one more time. Young Ida, young Bakugo, the key to being successful in this challenge is to embody villainy. Bakugo turned to look at Izuku. Think from the perspective of an evildoer. If things go too far I'll interfere. Ida, yes sir. And with that, both of them walked into the building while Mina and Izuku stood outside. Izuku read over the map of the building, looking at it and picturing everything in his mind. Finally he came up with a plan. Mina, so your name's Izuku Yagi, right? Hey, so you got a plan, partner? She asked cheerily. Izuku, alright, Bakugo will come after me to satisfy his ego while I'm dealing with him. You go after Ida and find the bomb. Make yourself as undetectable as possible. Mina, gotcha, but are you sure you can face Bakugo alone? I mean, I know you're really strong and all, but he might do more damage than needed. Izuku, don't worry, I'll be fine. Mina saw the look in Izuku's eyes. It was a look of determination. She became worried for her teammate. Seeing her distress, Izuku decided to comfort her. Izuku, I appreciate you worrying for me, but I'll be fine, I promise, so let's go out there and do our best. Mina took a moment before smiling. Yeah, she replied, pumping her fist into the air. All Might, alright, let's begin this combat training. Team A, go in now. Once the match started, Izuku gave Mina the directions of where to proceed once in the building and predicted where the bomb might be. As he had planned before, Katsuki came out from behind a wall with a sneak attack and engaged him in battle. Katsuki was angrier than ever, and now he would vent that anger out, but he didn't expect Izuku to block his attack and grab his arm, then throw him over his shoulder and back first into the ground. Katsuki was left shocked. How did he do that? There's no way, he's not that good, he said in shock at what Izuku had done. Izuku, I told you I'm not gonna let you do whatever you want to me anymore, Bakugo, because from today onward I am no longer Deku. Izuku moved back and watched as Bakugo got up. Bakugo, who the hell do you think you are, Deku? Up until now you groveling in your boots afraid of me and Izumi, even now you're shaking, but you still think you can take us. That's why I hate you. Bakugo, die. Ddraig, it's time to kick some Pomeranian butt. Izuku nodded. Alright, here goes. Suddenly a transparent aura surrounded Izuku as the air around him swirled around. He activated Toki. He charged at Izuku, throwing a punch to his face with an explosion ready, but Izuku sidestepped and kneed him in the gut, then high kicked him in the face, causing his head to slam into the wall next to his head. Izuku then brought out the boosted gear and punched him in the face, then sweep kicked him off the ground. Boost. Bakugo set off an explosion at point-blank range right at Izuku's eyes, thinking it'd blind him, but instead Izuku's gauntlet hand reached in, grabbing Bakugo by the face and pulling him in. Bakugo saw Izuku's eye glowing with an emerald light, causing him slight fear. Izuku head-butted him and smashed him up onto the roof and back down onto the ground. In the watch room, Kirishima, whoa, check out Yagi's moves. Ojiro, he's kicking Bakugo's butt all over the place. Momo, Yagi must have had experience beforehand when it comes to fighting Bakugo. Die. Boom, boost. They all turned back to the screen to see Bakugo charge over at Izuku, who clicked his fingers together with an angry expression, triggering an explosion in point-blank range with Bakugo. Izuku, and that does it, he said, falling to his knee exhausted. Ddraig, great work Izuku. Izuku blushed at the compliment and scratched the back of his head till he remembered Mina was still fighting, so he tapped his earpiece. Izuku, Mina, do you read me? He asked Mina, sad face whispering, I'm here Midori Izuku, Midori. Arg, it doesn't matter, where are you? Mina, whispering, 3 floors above you Izuku. Okay, got it, I'm on my way. Izuku grabbed his capture tape and wrapped it around Bakugo's unconscious body before leaving the room, not noticing Bakugo squirming on the ground and his eyes opening slightly with Mina. Mina was hiding behind a wall waiting for an opportunity to attack, but it was getting harder for her to keep her composure due to how serious Ida was taking his role as a villain. Ida, behold, I am the personification of a villain. Muahahaha, he laughed with a deeper voice, thinking he was scary, but Mina was about to break out laughing until a hand covered her mouth. She looked up to see Izuku smiling at her, but neither noticed their position. In the watchroom, Yaoyorozu, oh my Izumi, humph, stupid Deku. Uraraka meanwhile was pouting. Most of the males in the class were blushing as Mineta was crying bloody tears of jealousy. Mineta, curse you Yagi. With Izuku was taller than Mina and very close. The latter began noticing the position the two were in. Izuku's hand over her mouth, her back against the wall, him leaning over her. It was a classic high school makeout scene, causing her to become purple in embarrassment. Ddraig, oh naughty Izuku, I didn't know my new host was such a ladies' man. Izuku jumped back bright red, nearly compromising his position. Izuku, whispering, I'm sorry Mina. I didn't mean to, I just didn't want you to start laughing. I'm sorry. Mina nodded while looking down, still embarrassed. Izuku, whispering, fake cough, we need to focus on beating Ida. Mina, but first we need a plan. Mina nodded, completely agreeing with him. Okay, what do you have in mind Midori? She paid full attention to Izuku, who smirked. No one. POV, Mina walked into the room, causing Ida to face her with his hands on his waist. Ida, hahaha, have you come to give up hero, for you know you can't defeat me? Mina, oh yeah, come at me villain, she taunted him. Ida then charged at her, his legs rocketing him forward, about to grab Mina when suddenly she jumped to the side, dodging Ida, who attempted to stop fast but instead slid on the acid underneath his legs, heading to the door where Izuku punched him in the face with his gauntlet, cracking his helmet. Boost. Its green gem shined bright as Ida was sent skidding back and smashing into the wall behind the bomb. Izuku, we did it. Ddraig, that's how it's done. Izuku, you too, you were amazing. Mina, great work. Mina nodded with a smile, high-fiving Izuku. Izuku, after you. He bowed like gentleman, making her giggle. She placed her hand against the bomb and heard All Might announce, All Might, hero team wins. Mina jumped on Izuku, hugging him tight, pushing her melons against his chest, making him blush. Mina, this was all you Midori, I'm so glad you were my teammate. Izuku blushed but smiled nonetheless, happy for the praise. Izuku, hee me too, but what's this, Midori, business? Mina, oh, it's my nickname for you since Midoriya means green and Midori is a shorter way of saying it. What, don't you like it? She asked cutely, making him blush bright red. And no, I do. After that, they separated and Izuku helped Ida up. Ida, sigh, thank you for the help Yagi. Izuku, sure, it's the least I could do after putting you here. Ida, chuckle, I must admit you caught me by surprise. Izuku laughed as well when suddenly he felt a lot of malice. Ddraig, Izuku, look out. All Might, young Bakugo, don't do it, you'll kill them. Izuku spun around in shock, staring at Bakugo, who had orange arcs surrounding him, holding the trigger pin of his gauntlet. Bakugo, DAE. The flames of the explosion approached the three, who stood there without moving. The sound of Izuku's heartbeat echoed in his ears as the flames light approached. Izuku thoughts, I have to move, but then he saw how Mina and Ida didn't move. Izuku thoughts, please give me the strength. Izuku stretched out his gauntlet arm, preparing to take the full force of the blast so he could save his friends. Izuku thoughts, give me the strength to protect them. Suddenly an enormous emerald light blinded the eyes of all the students, and All Might as well as the boosted gear evolved. Boost, 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 over booster. Explosion. Chapter 7, New Day and Family Troubles. No one knew what to say. They were frozen in place after that previous attack. Something that left them speechless happened. Izuku's gauntlet evolved and erupted with power, firing a dragon shot of pure draconic energy, devouring Bakugo's blast and sending him flying out the building into another. Ida, cough cough Yagi. Yagi. He screamed when he heard coughing and walked to it to see Mina leaning against a wall. Ida, Mina. Are you alright? He ran to her and helped her stand up. Mina, you aren't hurt, are you? He asked, worried Mina. No, I'm fine, but where's Midori Ida? I'm not sure. Yagi, Yagi. He called. After a bit the smoke cleared and the first thing they saw was the area where Bakugo was once standing had been turned to rubble, destroyed to the paint that the metal in the roof was coming down onto the floor. They narrowed their eyes, seeing a figure appearing as the smoke dispersed, and when it finally went their eyes widened to see Izuku standing in the same position he was in when he fired the blast earlier, but with smoke coming off his clothes that were torn and covered in dirt. Izuku stumbled forward before falling down to the ground, not moving a single inch. Ida, Yagi. They ran over to Izuku to see that he was still breathing but only barely. Mina, oh no, Midori. Ida, All Might help us. All Might help us. All Might immediately dashed in and was shocked by the state of Izuku. All Might thoughts, I wanted to find out how Izuku gained his powers, but I didn't want this. Forgive me, my boy. Picking Izuku up slowly, he dashed away. Time skip. Izuku blinked once, twice, and then 3 times. Full opening his eyes, he saw himself underneath an unfamiliar roof. Where am I? He asked himself. Ddraig, we're in the UA Infirmary. Partner Izuku, Ddraig. What happened? Ddraig, you took on the full force of Bakugo's blast and evolved the boosted gear, I guess, that zapped away all your stamina. Izuku, I guess. Izuku sat up, feeling his body ache. Arg, damn it. He took a deep breath, trying to relax himself. Ddraig, are you alright, partner? Izuku, why yeah, I am, but I can't help but wonder what happened to Bakugo. That orange electricity that surrounded him when he attacked us, his quirk can't do that. Do you think it was that man's quirk? Ddraig, indeed the quirk of your some father passed on to an unfit user. Recovery girl, oh you awake dearie? Izuku turned his head to the right to see recovery girl enter the room. Izuku, why yeah, thanks for taking care of me. Recovery, oh it's fine sweetie, that's my job after all, but you should be more care. You did get seriously injured when you took that other boy's attack. That's why I'd like you to come back to my office tomorrow so I can heal you up, but for now head back to your class. Izuku, right, thanks recovery. He bowed and left the room with Izuku. Izuku made it to his class and took a deep breath, preparing himself for what was to come. Izuku, well here goes Ddraig. Good luck, partner. Izuku opened the door and walked in, only to be crowded by his classmates as soon as he opened the door. Yagi, you were so cool and manly out there. I'm Ejiro Kirishima, by the way. Dude, you were so awesome out there. I'm Hantasiro. It's nice to meet you. I'm Tsuyu Azui. I hope we can be friends. Karo, Mon Amy. I am Mina. Are you okay? Midori, nothing hurts, does it? She asked, grabbing his arm. Hi, I'm Mineta. What do you like most, butts or bub? Izuku was being overwhelmed while his entire class introduced themselves to him. The door on the other side of the room opened to reveal Uraraka and Kaminari walking in with a stack of paper. Hey, after this why don't we grab something to eat? What do you like? Kaminari asked her. Uraraka, sorry but Hadikairu. Uraraka ran to Izuku and hugged him tight. I was so worried, don't you ever do that again. Alongside Uraraka came Ida in a hurry, checking Izuku out for any wounds. Ida, Yagi. How are you feeling? Does it hurt anywhere? Ida was checking Izuku's body to see if he was okay, which thankfully he wasn't, despite the aching feeling around his body. Feeling that he worried Mina, Uraraka, and Ida a lot, Izuku looked down, upset with himself. Izuku, I am sorry for worrying you guys, please forgive me. Bowing his head, Izuku expected them to be angry at him, but instead they smiled at him. Ida, don't worry about it Yagi, we're just glad you're safe. Uraraka, yeah, but seriously don't ever do that again. Izuku smiled when he felt Mina tug on his sleeve. It's not polite to ignore a girl. Midori. Izuku blushed and apologized to Mina when he noticed something. Hey, where's Bakugo and Izumi? He asked them. Ojiro, oh, they left the class a few minutes before you woke up. Izuku, ah, I see. Ddraig, you aren't going to go after those two, are you? Izuku smiled. No way. Ddraig smiled back, proud of his partner's growth. Time skip. On the next day, Izuku had come to school, but he had a heck of a day yesterday. Living at his home became harder than ever, especially with his sister and the Bakugos. It was like he would never catch a break. But now he was facing his greatest enemy yet. Women. Hey, can you tell us what it's like to work so closely with All Might? Whoa, you're handsome, what's your name? She asked flirtatiously. Izuku, sorry but I'm gonna be late. Ddraig, Wow, this woman should be arrested hitting on someone younger than her. Izuku agreed with him as he moved past them and walked into the school building. This time they crowded. Uraraka, are you one of All Might's students? Tell us what's the symbol of peace like in person. Uraraka, what's he like? Welu. He's super muscly, yeah. This time it was Ida's turn. Women, how is he faring as a teacher? What are you learning? Ida, his leadership and wisdom remind me daily that I'm learning at one of the most prestigious educational institutions. Of course he's the personification of heroism that one would expect, but he's also not afraid to show his students a more humorous side. It's truly a unique opportunity to be under the direct tutelage of the pro we all admire. Ida continued on boring the reporters before he left and Aizawa took his place. Women, please sir, can you get All Might for us? Also, you look like a mess. What's your deal? Aizawa, All Might's not on campus today. Now get out of here. You've disturbed my students enough already. Aizawa walked away into the school as the reporters complained about their crappy responses. Women, we just want to know how he's adjusting to life here as a teacher. She shouted as the other reports shouted and protested. Man 1, I've seen that guy before, but we're women. I don't know, but he seems too scruffy to be a teacher. Aizawa thoughts, how does All Might ever get anything done with this riffraff? Women, alright, if you won't bring All Might out I'll get him myself, she said walking in. Man 2, whoa, hold on. Beep beep. The alarm on the top of the gate beeped red twice before slamming down, nearly squashing the woman, but she jumped back and fell on her butt. In fear. Women, Aya Hey, what's happening? Man 2, don't you know about the school's defenses? This gate is the UA barrier. Women, defenses? It practically killed me. Man 2, yeah, well, it's designed to stop anyone who doesn't have a student ID or teacher pass from entering the school. Guess it works. Women, ugh. Man 2, there are sensors like this all over the place. Women, keeping the public out like this school thinks it's untouchable. The least they can do is grant me one interview. All the reports agreed with her, complaining as well set off. The news that man was a teacher at UA spread like wildfire. The nation was shocked completely by this turn of events. Everyone heard of him becoming a teacher, and I mean everyone. Time skip in class. Aizawa, decent work on yesterday's combat training. You guys, I saw the video feeds and went over each of your team results. Bakugo, you're talented, so don't you sulk like a child after your victory. Okay, and if you do something like that again I'll make sure you never become a hero. Got it? Katsuki, groan. Yeah, whatever. Aizawa, and Yagi, you did well. I'm proud of you, but next time don't throw yourself into danger like that. Try to find a better way so you don't get hurt. Other than that, great work, keep striving to improve. Izuku nodded with a smile. Yes sir. Ddraig, I like him. Aizawa, good. Alright, now let's get down to business. Your first task will decide your future. Everyone froze in fear. Is it another quirk assessment test? They all wondered. Aizawa, you all need to pick a class representative. Everyone's thoughts, oh, so just your normal school things, they thought in relief. Kirishima, pick me guys, I'll be the best. Rep Mineta, no me, I'll be perfect. Mina, no me. Toru, I'm the perfect choice. Izumi, pick me. Kaminari, I'll be the rep. Jiro, you're gonna need me. Mineta, if you choose me I'll make the girls' skirts 10 cms shorter. Katsuki, I pick me. Losers. To any other school a class rep would just deal with regular school stuff, but in UA it helps our reputation grow to prove we have what it takes to be leaders, and that will do a lot in the hero business. Ddraig, they're all so loud. Ida, silence everyone please. The class representative's responsibility is to lead others. It's something everyone can do. They must first have the respect of every student in the classroom. Therefore the most logical way to make this decision is democratically. We will hold an election to choose our leader, he said with his hand raised the highest. Everyone's thoughts, it's pretty obvious you want us to vote for you. Kaminari, is this the best idea? Azui, we've only known each other a few days, how will we know who to vote for? Kirishima, and won't most people vote for themselves? Ida, most will, but that's why this is the best way to vote, right sir? Aizawa, do what you want but don't interrupt my nap, he said falling to the ground in his sleeping bag. Ida, thank you for your trust. After a couple of minutes of voting, Izuku won with 9 votes for the position of class president and Momo as a deputy with 2 votes. But right now we find our incredible hero in the lunch hall with Ida and Uraraka. Ida, I must say Yagi, you will make a great class president. Uraraka happily ate her rice while nodding. Uraraka, so anyway, tell us Dekairu, since you are the new class president, how do you feel? Izuku, honored and slightly overwhelmed. I'm just scared I might not be good enough, but I've been meaning to ask, did you vote for me? Ida nodded. Ida, among all the other students you and Yaoyorozu were the only choices I thought were right for the position. Izuku, why though? Ida, You alone showed the most care for our classmates out of everyone. You even protected me and Mina at the risk of your own life, so I knew no one better than you to become the class president. Uraraka. That's right. Izuku smiled at his friends and Ddraig, who couldn't help but chuckle, enjoying the sight of his partner figure being complimented for the incredible person he is. Mina. Hey, I voted for you too. You mean? She pouted cutely, coming to the table holding a tray of food. Izuku, Mina. Mina. Giggle. Hey there Midori, do you mind me and my friend here sitting with you guys? Toru. Hi guys. You don't mind us sitting here, do you? Izuku. Oh hi Toru, and not at all. What about you guys? He asked Ida and Uraraka. Ida. Not at all. Uraraka shook her head. Great. Mina cheered, sitting beside Izuku while Toru sat next to Uraraka. Mina. Oh by the way Midori, why does Bakugo call you Deku all the time? Izuku. It is an insult for me when I was quirkless. Why do you ask? Ida. That's still shameful behavior, unfit for a student of UA. It's unforgivable. Uraraka. Well, it's a good thing we changed that to Dekairu, right? She asked happily to Izuku, who nodded before feeling his arm being nudged and turned his head to face Mina. Mina. Yeah, but you like my nickname better, don't you? Midori. She said the last name in a cheeky tone, making him blush bright red but also making Uraraka pull his other arm. Uraraka. Hey, he likes mine better. Mina. No, mine. Uraraka. No, mine. Uraraka. Mina. Whose do you like better? Midori. Dekairu. Suddenly bell rang and every student began running away in the cafeteria, panicking. Izuku. Oh thank God. Ddraig. Talk about the perfect timing. Toru. What's going on? Ida. Is this a villain attack? Izuku grabbed a student who was running past him and questioned him. Hey, what's happening? He questioned him. It's the security alarm, it never goes off. Izuku let him go running and was then dragged away by the crowd. Ow, help! Izuku found himself slammed against the window of the hall. Everyone was running through, stomping on each other, shoving and hitting each other when he noticed that it wasn't a villain attack, it was the media breaking into the school. Izuku thoughts, DMN, I have to get out of here, but what can I do? Turning his head slightly, he spotted Yaoyorozu in the same situation as him. That's it. He shouted with an idea. Izuku, Yaoyorozu. The girl turned her head to face Izuku. Why Yagi? She replied, facing him. I have an idea B, but I need your help. Can you make something that will allow everyone to hear me? He asked as she nodded. Yaoyorozu. Yeah, just give me a few seconds. Yaoyorozu lifted up her shirt, revealing her belly as a light shined from it, and created a microphone, and done, she handed the blushing Izuku a microphone. Izuku took it and placed it next to his mouth. Thanks Yaoyorozu. Hey everyone, stop freaking out, there is no villain attack, it's just the press. Look at what you're doing, running away like cowards. We're training to be heroes, so start acting like it. After he shouted that, everyone stopped freaking out and began helping each other before leaving. Izuku. Sigh. Well, that took a lot out of me. Ddraig. Yes, but you managed to break them all out of their state of fear. Well done, partner. Izuku. Thanks Ddraig, he said before heading over to his classroom. Time skip. Izuku was swarmed by his classmates after getting to class. Kirishima. Midori bro. I can't believe you did that. It was so manly. Kaminari. Yeah man. If it wasn't for you we would have been squashed like bugs. Yeah, thanks a lot Midori. You were really tough out there, Tiger, Mina said close to his face with a flirty tone as Izuku blushed a bit and asked her to back up a little. And Mina, could you please back up a little? You're kinda close. Uraraka pouted at Mina, who was giggling while making fun of Izuku. Meanwhile in Kuo, Issei. So have you guys found anything about where Ddraig could be? I bet my partner is just desperately missing me. Rias. I'm sure he is. Issei, but we need to be patient, it's bad enough Kokobile broke out of his prison. Akino. Yeah, he could strike at any time and we won't have the Red Dragon Emperor's power to deal with it. We need to stay vigilant. Kiba. I'm sure we'll find Ddraig soon, we just need more time. Issei. Zenobia nodded and looked out the window. I wonder how did the Red Dragon Emperor leave Issei, and how strong did they have to be to take him away? Back with Izuku. Izuku walked towards the door to his home and took a moment before placing his hand on the door knob. Izuku. Sigh. Here we go again. Ddraig. Now partner, maybe it won't be so bad. Izuku. Let's hope you're right, partner. Izuku turned the door knob and opened the door, walking inside to see his Inko cooking, Toshinori sitting on the kitchen table reading his newspaper, and Izumi next to the Bakugos on the couch. Katsuki being the first to notice he entered the house. Katsuki. Oh look who walked in. Hi Deku. Inko. oh welcome home sweetie, you hungry? Izuku, no, he continued on his way to his room when he felt a hand roughly grab his wrist. Turning his head he saw it was Toshinori. Izuku, can I help you? He asked nervously, disliking the feeling of Toshinori's hand gripping his wrist. Toshinori, son, we've been wondering how is it you got your quirk. Izuku, just by chance I guess, please let me go. Izuku pulled his hand out of Toshinori's grasp and quickly walked away before All Might stood in front of him, a result of Toshinori buffing up. All Might, I wasn't asking you, you will tell us now. Izuku. All Might had a glare on his face, one that was threatening and scared Izuku a little. Izuku, please just let me through. Inko, I think it's best we know. Izuku, this is for your own good after all. Sweetie. Inko walked over to Toshinori's side while Izumi stood behind Izuku next to Bakugo. Izumi, you know Deku, you should tell us where you got your quirk from. After all, a quirkless loser like you doesn't just get a quirk as strong as the one you currently have. Izuku thoughts, what do I do? Ddraig, help me please. Toshinori, tell us now. He raised his voice at Izuku before grabbing him by his collar and raising him up into the air. Izuku, let me go. Toshinori, tell me. Izuku, let go of me. Toshinori, I told you to. Izuku, let go. Suddenly Izuku's aura burst out with crimson and purple energies overlapping each other, sending Toshinori flying into the wall behind him. When the aura dispersed it revealed Izuku's boosted gear A kept, but the air around it was so heated that it became blurry. The group around him looked at Izuku in shock, but it didn't last long as he ran out the house as fast as he could. Izuku thoughts, damn it, damn it, damn it. He shouted to himself, running away with tears in his eyes. Ddraig, Izuku, let's calm down, okay? I'm always here with you, remember that. Izuku, Ddraig, I know, but right now we need you to relax. Come, let's head to the beach. Izuku, okay. Sniff. Ddraig thoughts, DMNU Yagi family, I swear I'll make you pay for this. To be continued.